Well, well, well. The Penn State Nittany Lions and James Franklin stumble somehow in Los Angeles, California, to the previously winless 0-4 UCLA Bruins. I don't know how they lost this game. I had written UCLA off as going winless for this season after they lost Northwestern this week. James Franklin is squarely under the target now. He is completely befuddled. There's no defending this loss. It is indefensible. No excuse for losing to a team that bad without a head coach. Hasn't happened since 1985. That is not the kind of history that Penn State was out to set this season, and yet they set it anyway, Rob.
Yeah, man. I mean, like 40 years in the making, and you're the first team in 40 years to lose to a winless team. We're talking about UCLA, dude. We're talking about a team that barely put up what, like 14 points. All of a sudden, they put up what, I think it was 42 points, over 400 yards in total offense. And to an interim coach who's a first-time play caller. James Franklin has been the head coach at Penn State since 2014. And yes, he's accomplished some things, but this is just one thing you don't want to accomplish. And just like we were talking about this, last time we talked about James Franklin, it was like, okay, like there's this 3-game stretch that could determine his job. And that was, they play Iowa, then they travel to Columbus to take on Ohio State, and then they have Indiana at home. And just like, okay, if he loses 2 out of those 3 games, it's probably done with because then you're out of the playoffs. Yeah. And now it's just like you lose to UCLA, so now the pressure is really on. His seat's not hot. It is on fire.
Scalding.
The Penn State faithful, I guarantee there's a lot of unrest with them. And just, I saw the demeanor of a man taking it all in after a loss who's like, oh, shoot.
What just happened?
I may not make it past this season if we don't make it to the playoffs. I'm going to say that they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
He's going to get fired. And
for one, even at the spring game, Penn State fans were attacking James Franklin, saying, are you ever going to win a big game? Well, not only did they lose the game last weekend to the Oregon Ducks, but now they go on the road and lose to a winless, coachless UCLA program. His seat's scalding, bro. There's no way he survives this season, I don't think. Yeah. I don't think he should be fired on the tarmac or midseason, but absolutely end of season for sure.
Oh, he's lucky he got a plane ride home, dude. He's lucky he wasn't fired on the tarmac. But normally, teams, coaches these are games where you bounce back and get things going again. And
take a little anger out.
That makes me feel like there's just something deeper going on. Just like, has James Franklin lost the locker room? Because if you look at it year in and year out, he can't win the big game. And now he lost a game to a team they had no business losing to. Yeah. Again, we predicted UCLA to go winless this season. And now that would look terrible, just absolutely terrible if their only win ends up being against Penn State. Well, terrible for Penn State. But, I mean, and the most embarrassing thing is that was the size crowd of a high school game, a little peewee high school game. There must have been 50 fans who stormed the
exactly, dude. It's the most pathetic field storm I've ever seen.
Stormed the field. And another thing you have to look at, this was an all-in season. You had Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, who could have easily gone in the pros. They decided to come back for one more run. Same as Drew Aller. You had some players on the defense side of the ball came back who could have went to the pros, and you hired Jim Knowles away from Ohio State, one of the best defensive coordinators last season. It's not working out. And again, the deeper issue to me is that he peed down his pants. I mean, he peed down his pants, down his leg once again. And I truly think that he's lost the locker room. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You probably paid up the wazoo and NIL, back to the brink trucks to bring back what you did and bring in Jim Knowles. And now it's just like it's week 5, and your foot's halfway
You're already
out the
0-2
door in the
in the Big Ten.
playoffs. Your foot's halfway up during the playoffs.
You're potentially already eliminated from the playoffs, not even halfway through the season. But the important things that you brought up, how does the locker room respond? Because I don't think there's anything James Franklin can say to this roster. If Penn State is going to hold on and salvage their season, it's going to come from player leadership, not from above. And we'll see what kind of leadership they have, because they might crumble and completely collapse now. But it was an all-in season for Penn State. And it's not quite gone yet, but it's essentially erased. They have to win out. And there's no way. There's nobody in the college football world that believes that's a reality, that that's a possibility for them. They don't think it can happen. Nobody on this channel thinks that can happen. And it was an all-in season, and it's basically squandered already.
I mean, let's look at other programs, just over the years, who had suffered heartbreaking losses the week before, but bounced back. I mean, dude, the Georgia Bulldogs could have come to their game against Kentucky this weekend and just completely blew because they had an emotional loss to Alabama. But Kirby Smart is a true leader. He's an elite head coach, and he's not going to allow that. James Franklin, again, we mentioned this. He's the guy who builds the program but can't take it to the next level. And it shows. I mean, he's just showing that I don't think he's a leader of men. I don't think he's a leader at all. I think he has the school handcuff because just like, oh shoot, like if we fire him, where could our program go? And just like before he was even hired, look at the state of their program. It was awful. Yeah. You had the Jerry Sandusky scandal. They got a 4-year bowl ban, lost scholarships, and they had to rebuild from the ground up. And just like, this is the coach that did it. So do we really want to let him go? And just like
he resurrected it.
He has them handcuffed.
And the other key factor is, and this is no small thing, people are talking about Luke Fickell's $15 million buyout. You want to talk about a serious buyout? James Franklin's buyout is $56 million. That's no joke.
Yeah, that's
boosters I know are sick of him because they paid this roster to compete for a national title, and now they might be on the hook for this insane buyout. That really is the only thing that I think could save Franklin's job. But we've seen other universities do it. Notre Dame fired Charlie Weiss for like a $70 million buyout on his contract. And so schools have done it in the past. Maybe Penn State will pull the trigger, but it really does depend on how the locker room itself responds and how well they lead themselves down the second half of this season now.
I'm going to read off some of the games that Penn State has left, and then, we'll get the prognosis, the outlook on how James Franklin's future looks. But I'm pretty sure that this is nearing towards the end. His foot is halfway out the door.
Seems that way.
But so they play Northwestern. Yep. That should be a win, but you never know. Then you have this 3-game stretch. You're at Iowa. You're at Ohio State. You have number 7 Indiana at home, which Kirk Cignetti just has that team fired up. Just a true leader of men. They travel to East Lansing. That could be. I mean, you never know. That could be a trap game. And then you have Nebraska at home. They could lose to Nebraska at home. So we're looking at potentially 2 more losses here. Potentially 2 or 3 more losses.
Absolutely.
Peter, it's not looking good, man. If I was the Penn State faithful, I'd be trying to ramp up the money now so you can just get this over with. But if I was the Penn State faithful, dude, I would have packed his stuff for him. But that's just me.
Here's the thing, man. Yesterday, there were some Franklin defenders left because he hadn't lost games he shouldn't lose. Now that defense is completely gone. It's gone because now he lost to a team that he had no business losing to. And I don't see him surviving post November 30th. I think he's going to be gone. I truly do. I think the locker room is going to probably quit. But if they have self-respect and pride for the university, not for James Franklin, maybe they'll scrap together and cobble some more wins together. But if not, this season's going down the drain.
I will end with this. I don't see it happening unless something miraculous happens, because
I don't either.
You have players on that roster who really more than likely wanted to go to the pros, wanted to get that shot at their dream of what it's all about, why they played college football, why they went to Penn State, get developed, and end up at the next level. And just like they came back and they're already looking at a playoff elimination. One more loss and it's over.
Yep. They can kiss that dream goodbye of winning one of these. And they're not going to achieve those goals. There's no way they're beating Ohio State, let alone some of the other teams you mentioned. But Franklin, get it together. But I don't think you can. We'll see you on the next one, guys.
OH.
I-O.